Welcome to episode 3. We are discussing AI. Elton's back in the studio. Third episode of this, and we're going to be looking at it in a bit more detail. How you as a construction business can work with AI. Just before we started filming, Elton and I had a chat. We're going to try and keep this to 10 minutes, but this is quite juicy. First of all, Elton, right, let's say someone looked at the last episode. Right, we really want to get into this. Do you need a full-time member of staff, or can you outsource to an agency, consultancy to start off?
Okay, so once again, I think this is about how we look at AI. So I would say you shouldn't be using AI to generate more work. So when we talk about needing an additional resource, whether that's internal or outsourced, everything you do with AI should be about saving you time, and in a very short space of time too. So if I'm looking at using AI, within using that, learning that, within a couple of hours of learning this new thing, I'd want that to be giving me back at least half an hour a day of savings.
I think this is a key point. Sorry to interrupt, but people are probably thinking, I need to spend so much extra time or get another member of staff, but that's the wrong mindset.
It's the wrong mindset.
You're using it to save
time. It's all about saving time. Yeah. Now, if you suddenly say today, right, I want to learn everything there is to know about AI, and we're going to do all of this stuff. Yeah, you're going to spend your first few weeks learning. But I wouldn't advise you do that. I would say, going back to what we said before, and start with the thing that's important, and then look at, okay, I need my AI assistant to help. And you will learn there's a thing we call prompt engineering, and it doesn't matter what we're prompting for, whether it's a video, an image, a text, whatever. It's basically how you communicate with your agent, with your assistant. So each time you do something different, you'll probably need to learn, a better way to prompt, a better way to ask. But I would say just start with that. And then within that very short space of time, you're saving time.
When you say learn, is that something the average micro SME can do? Or is this where we need a company like yours or similar that can say, look, we'll give you a hand starting off?
So you would certainly benefit from getting some training, for sure.
Yeah.
Is it 100% necessary? No, because ever since, I don't know how long now, we've had YouTube. There's so much on there we can learn.
The biggest search, isn't it? How to.
So. And here's the other thing. In fact, how to is the biggest search. YouTube for the longest amount of time has been the second biggest search engine. AI is taking over all of that. So once you've learned the basics, I will ask my assistant, how should I prompt for this?
Crikey, changing the tact, but could AI replace all these search engines or work better with them?
No, it will. Not can. It will.
So the likes of Google, I just want to think, God, it's showing my age. I was going to say Ask Jeeves, that went about 30 years ago, but
correct.
Google, Yahoo, I didn't even know what other ones there are. But
years ago, I did a presentation. I did a presentation in 2008 called Life After Google. To which people thought I was crazy, of course. I probably am. I probably am. But Life After Google. And actually, I was meaning the search engine. I wasn't meaning the corporation. Yeah, Google are heavily invested in AI. I don't see Google going very far. Yeah. But in terms of us, the humble user, going to Google to search for things, we're going to see decline we've already started seeing the decline, and that will just continue. We won't bother. Why would you? If you had an assistant, why would you go and do your own searching? The only thing stopping you is mindset.
Yeah.
And it's change and adoption of it.
But this is a key point. Construction, in my opinion, is still being operated as though it's 1986. We're so backwards. It's frightened of digitalisation, social media. AI is like a foreign language.
It is, but half of this is psychology, isn't it? But we get into the groundswell of AI now is so big that many people in construction don't even realize they're using it. If they do a Google search, what's the first result they see?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's AI.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they go to their Amazon and they're looking for things, what's controlling the listings? AI. Yeah. Everything is AI. The groundswell behind AI is so big that it will force along the, laggards, we would say, in terms of people who don't join, the opposite of the pioneers. The pioneers and the masses will basically drag everything else along. Hence, what I was saying, you do need to get involved with this. This isn't one that actually doesn't matter, just see whether you want to or not. Unless you've got a fairly short time frame to your retirement, I would suggest you get on board. So it's the groundswell that's the issue with it. It's going to push everything along. Everything is becoming AI driven, and we're at the start of this curve.
A couple of people I spoke to about this show, they were saying, can AI help us with our social media? Because even though I've just said construction's still very scared and frightened of taking a big step forward, but we are getting there. Still, so many companies, mainly because of the age demographic, don't understand social media. Starting to use agencies, bring in youngsters, whatever. But is this something people go, if I work with AI, can they write a schedule for me? Can they post for me? Can they come up with ideas?
So here's the thing. We've got to go back to what social media is. We've got to go back to what social media is. Yeah. So can AI do social media? Well, the answer is obvious. The social bit is you and I. It's me being genuinely interested. I've seen something that you've posted on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever it is, the platform, even the ones that have not been created and the ones that are no longer there. Yeah. It's me being genuinely interested, commenting on it, genuinely. That's human, it's social. Yeah. Now, from a technical point of view, I could write you an AI bot tomorrow that would not only do the scheduling, it would find the content topics, it would make sure that they were topical, because it could look at the news. It would post them. If anybody commented, it could reply to the comments. It could go and find you. All of that can be done. But it kind of breaks the code then all of a sudden. Because the code between you and I on social is that it is you and I. So if you keep seeing my bot replying, you're soon going to sense that it's not really me, because I've just replied to you while we were sat here. So once we start breaking down that human code of what it is to be social, that's where it's going to fall over. However, what can it do? Well, it already, for me, gives me ideas that people are talking about. What are people actually interested in? So it can go away and do a lot of research and say, hey, Elton, today, these are the things that have changed in AI. So it would report back to me. A lot of people are talking about this DeepSeek, or a lot of people are talking about NVIDIA Digits, which is their sort of, will be their desktop computer to run AI. So it can bring me all these ideas, but actually I still need to do the social bit. It could even do the posting.
Yeah.
And there's different types of posting. There's posting that is just informative content. It's quite flat, I suppose. There's that sort of stuff, but actually true engagement, that's a human thing that we will always crave as a human thing.
Would it ever get to the stage where it could reply for me and everyone thinks that's And? Or we've all got our own personalities, our own characters, the way we write and speak.
So you just said it. We've all got our own. Okay, well, are you then describing a pattern that maybe you've got?
Yeah, back to episode 1.
Back to episode 1. So yes, it absolutely could. But the problem with it is, we're going to meet down the pub and you're going to say, did you like that then?
This is what I'm thinking. My work response, let's say LinkedIn, more of a commercial platform, business platform, what I put on there compared with what I put in my WhatsApp group with my old rugby mates, a little bit different.
Yeah, but it's the trust equation thing. That's where if you put it on autopilot, and by the way, we could put it on autopilot tomorrow. Yeah, I run daily tips. So I've got a daily tips that go out on Instagram, and every one of those has been sourced by AI. I then curate them. So what we call it is human in the loop is what we call it.
Yeah.
I curate them and say, yeah, I agree with that. That makes sense.
So it's back to the time thing. You're letting AI do a lot of work, which will take you a long time.
Yeah.
Chucking it all together. Basically, you check it, quick tweak.
And then it goes off. It creates the entire post, which is a video. It's a voiceover. So it's an animation and a voiceover, which all sounds extremely human. But here's the thing, I'm not really breaking the human trust bit because it's just a daily tips.
Right.
Now, what I wouldn't get it to do is a post on what Elton thinks about this. No, because then I'm suddenly breaking the trust.
This is where media is not going to be replaced.
No.
Because if you're asking your expert opinion on X, Y, Z, it's your personal opinion, which could be different from yesterday.
Correct. Now, I can use AI to go and gather that information for me, save me hours of research. But then I have to think, what's my thought about this? Which, by the way, isn't right or wrong. It's just my thought.
This is fascinating. There's one thing which a few people have asked me to ask you. And a lot of people are using it for advice in things such as accounting, law. Can it be trusted? Because some people are firing off these legal letters for whatever reason. Now, obviously, if it ever did get to court, is this something which a judge can go, or the opposing barrister is going to go, actually, clearly AI has written this, you haven't got a clue what you're talking about?
So, okay, so there's a few things wrapped up in there. So one is because it's to do with words. There are actually AI tools that will detect AI writing and correct it. So if you remember years ago, we had Grammarly used to advertise. They were on the tubes everywhere, weren't they, Grammarly? And it was to help you write your essays or whatever and get the correct grammar. They've got tools now that will essentially check AI. But by the way, Grammarly is AI.
Yeah.
So it's AI checking AI to say, this looks a bit like AI, so I'll correct it. A lot of this comes into the prompt engineering, and that's where training probably does help, because if you prompt correctly, you get the correct response. So that's probably a slightly separate topic. But in terms of will we ever come to trust it, isn't that interesting? Because how many people now think they're a pseudo doctor because of Google? So they search the ailment on Google and they know what condition they've got. But I can't trust this. I remember years ago, I did a lot of presentations around digital marketing, and one of them was all about how things have changed. And I remember selling e-commerce back in the day. Bearing in mind when I started, the internet was a fad. That wasn't going to last. A bit like AI. But also e-commerce. People never put their credit card into a computer.
I remember, yeah.
Meanwhile, they'd put it into a fax back form and send it to an office full of people. They trusted that method. They didn't trust the new method. So it comes back to this trust equation thing again. So, and if you see in all the episodes so far, in all of them, what are we really talking about? Some of it's technology, but really it's about the human. It's all about the human and how we feel about it. That's what's really at the heart of all of this.
Brilliant way to finish. There is so much more we could talk about, but we've run out of time for this week. The fourth and final episode next week. God, this is crystal ball time. The future of AI. Join us same time next week.